Most golfers dread being in a bunker because of that, or the opposite, where you nuke it over the green. What if I were to tell you there are 3 fairly simple steps to follow to make sure you not only get out of the bunker every time, but you learn to hit the ball close? Let's take a look. Here's the main problem. Most golfers think that bunker success is all about technique, when that is just 1/3 of what you need to work on. Using the WedgeMatrix pillars, we use technique, skill, and performance. So how do we translate that in the most simple way into the bunker? Well, of course, we do start with technique, but we try and keep it very, very simple. It might vary player to player, but today I'm going to show you something really easy and straightforward so we can move on to the second pillar, which is skill. And skill in the bunker is learning to control the sand, the depth, how much you push into the ball, the direction you push it in, which all has an effect on the outcome that you get from the sand. The third pillar is performance, being able to take it from the practice bunker, which I'm sure a lot of you have success from, onto the golf course where you have less success. So how do we translate and transfer what we do here onto the golf course? That's performance. This sand is pretty wet and pretty heavy, not a lot of fun. It's been raked with a wide tooth rake as well, just to make it extra difficult, as you can see from the lines in here. I could smooth it over, but let's have it playing slow. So from a technical perspective, you'll have seen videos I've done before. I think people make this really overcomplicated. I want you to play the ball in the center. All right, first off, you don't need to put the ball forwards. There's an interesting one here that people are told to put the ball forwards and often told to shift their upper body forwards on top of the golf ball. Like, surely you've just moved it ahead and then undone what you get from that movement by moving over here. I don't know, it makes no sense to me. So play the ball dead center. Feet can be pretty much shoulder width, maybe just a touch wider for stability. Face, maybe a hair open. Distance from the ball, kind of stretched out. You stretch it out a little bit, it makes it harder to create real depth in the sand, which is the #1 killer. And from there, I want you to play it like a pretty standard 40-50 yard pitch, kind of wide, making contact somewhere before the golf ball. Nothing too sexy. So ball middle, feet just a little bit wider than shoulder width, making sure I'm not getting too low. You can just hear how heavy and lumpy that sand is. Pretty disgusting. Kind of long divot. Very, very squelchy. Not much fun at all. So I think we're up to about 2 minutes, if that, and I've already shown you a basic technique for a basic bunker shot, but we'll just reiterate, maybe refine those points a little bit. We had ball center, feet slightly wider than shoulder width. I want you to push your weight just a little bit to the left. We're going to get your sternum just a touch ahead of the golf ball. And I'll give you a little bit of intent here. You're actually going to try and hit the ball low. Now, there's obviously 60 degrees of loft on this thing. I've got it a fraction open. There is a lot of loft. What I don't need to do here is try and help and increase the loft to get the ball in the air. More often than not, what that's going to lead to is contacting the sand further back, pushing more sand into the golf ball, and either not getting out or not going high anyway. There's no payoff for that movement. So I'm actually going to try and hit this a bit lower. I'm going to go 60-40 front, ball maybe a fraction further back. I'm going to keep it pretty wide, so nothing really going on my wrist, so super basic. And I should, even though the sand's heavy, still be able to get it out with ease. My intent here is slightly lower. Okay, we've got no problem there at all getting it out. Technique, it is just such a small part of it, and it is going to vary person to person. You can leave a comment below and say, technique doesn't work for me, and that's fine. You need to find your technique. But the point I'm going to get across here is your technique should be kept basic, and it shouldn't be a huge part of what you do from the sand. As long as it's somewhere close and manageable, the second pillar of skill and third of performance are going to be what really gets you going on the golf course. The #1 skill from the sand is controlling the depth of the sand. It's not just drag a line in behind the golf ball and try and hit that line. I can hit this line in all kinds of different ways, and effectively I've successfully passed the drill. I've hit the line every time, but I've got a deep one that barely scuffed the sand, and one that was actually quite nice. So a complete mixture. Doesn't guarantee a thing. Controlling where it starts, yeah, big part of it. Controlling how long it goes on for, huge part of it. Controlling that depth at the same time, maybe even bigger. So by all means, draw a line in the sand. There's no rules against it. But have a think about the length of the divot after the line and how well and repeatable that divot is. That's the skill, being able to repeat the depth regardless of sand type. because I can guarantee in the comments down here, someone will have said, all these videos are from compact sand and it's nice and easy and the ball comes out every time. I play somewhere where there's a lot of sand in the bunker. Well, unfortunately, I can't change what we have here today, but I can tell you that if you can control your depth like this, it doesn't matter if there's this much sand or this much, same outcome. So as a drill here, what I'll do, I'll put a line in the sand behind the golf ball. It's probably 2.5 golf balls back, but I'll continue it this way. And I'm going to try and make a repeatable divot that starts in the right kind of place. And then once I feel like I've got some level of control over it, I'll get into the ball and try and create the same divot. Come out a little strong. Spinny though, divot was good. You see it started at the line, ended in a very similar spot to these ones. So my execution was quite good. My speed was a touch off. Once you've got good at this drill, it really becomes a case of all I have to do is control the sand. Then the sand will control the ball. Let's go into the ball again. I'm looking for the same length and depth. Remember, this is key. It's not just hit the line. Okay, pretty good again. Just a little bit strong, but again, happy with the divot. No issue there whatsoever. So the main skill in here is controlling the sand. And when I say controlling the sand, it's controlling the depth. Obviously, where it starts, kind of important. If your depth is good, you could be a little bit back. You could be a bit forward, wouldn't be a problem. Where it ends is obviously a product of where it went in, the depth, and how quickly you got it out again. You get good at controlling that, and bunker play gets a hell of a lot easier. Let's get on to the third pillar, performance. How to transfer what you do here to there, because just standing here and making rep after rep after rep of technique is not going to do it. Yeah, your technique will get better here, but will it get better out there? Probably not. If your basic technique is okay and your skill level is all right, we can start to look at performance. And I'm going to give you the most simple of drills. I'm going to look to land each of these balls consecutively further and further on the green until I don't. I'm going to climb a ladder towards that target, and it's carry, not roll out. Okay, and as soon as I fail, I'm going to come right back down. So in order to achieve this, I need to strike it decent. My depth control needs to be pretty good, and then I'm controlling speed. So we put everything together, we put a little bit of pressure on it, and we see how far up the ladder I can get today. So ideally, the first one is going to be just on the green. So let's see if I can make my divot nicely and control my speed. It's going to be pretty slow, the first. Oh, that was so much better than expected. That was an inch on, so anywhere more than an inch on the green, and I'm good to continue. That was nice. So you can see these swings, they're not big. They're small, they're controlled. I've got a pretty good sight on where that last one was. I'm going to carry it a little bit further though, just to protect myself, hopefully. Oh no. I might have to rewind that one and take a look. I'm going to go benefit of the doubt on this occasion, because otherwise it's boring for you. I'd have to start again. So let's try and get this a little bit further again. Obviously lies do vary in the sand, so you can do everything right and still not quite get it. So let's hedge this a little bit more than I said I would and try and get it to those balls, just to be sure. No, it was definitely further. It was almost to the balls. Not bad. I'm going to have to ramp it up a bit now though. Let's change the lie up a touch. I'm going to go slight downslope. A little bit more sand there as well. Let's see if we can cover that space. Oh, by way too much. So that spun like crazy, but I've sent it. But it didn't fly past the flag. So I've got about this much space, I think, to get one more in there. This pretty much has to land in the hole. Not at it, in it, so I'm actually going to aim a little bit further right, going to go straight at the hole, not play for any break. Try and land it in the hole. That's the only way I can carry on with the game. Oh, gunned it. 5 feet too far. But if I had a bit of time in the bunker, I would be grabbing those balls and repeating and repeating. If I felt like my technique was failing under that performance pressure, maybe I go back to that technique pillar and work on basic stuff for 5 minutes and then come back around. Maybe I feel like, you know what, technique feels okay. Let's work on the skill side for a bit. Let's really learn to control the sand better. Then go back to performance, because the performance work is what helps you take it from here onto the golf course. Now, if this process of improvement interests you, check out WedgeMatrix Academy. There's a link at the top of the description below where you can get an idea of these 3 pillars. You can see how we do it in the online academy. WedgeMatrix.com, it's down there. Now if you made it this far in a video, maybe check out this one because YouTube thinks you'll like it.